Today we're going to be doing things a little bit different. I have my partner Karen with me today, and we're going to be talking about childhood trauma and how this trauma is passed down to our children from us, usually through the lineage. It's usually an ancestral thing that we were taught by our parents. So have you ever noticed that your child's acting like you? And these things that you thought you had healed is manifesting within them.
For example, how so many people are saying, oh look, he acts just like I did when I was little, or oh that habit, like a child clumsy, or they're extra goofy, or they make up stories and are super imaginative and we're like, oh I did that when I was a child. A lot of times that's those behaviors reenacting because of those traumas from the lineage.
Trauma isn't just what happens to us, it's what happens inside of us. And it happens within the nervous system. So the healing has to go deep within that. And it starts with us healing ourselves.
Right, because the common misconception, people think trauma, they think that means somebody had to have been died or horribly abused or some big dramatic event had to happen. A lot of times it's not that. It's a parent that worked such long hours that we didn't feel seen, that we didn't feel heard, or the bully in school who stole our lunch money every day, or maybe we were a little chubby when we were kids and somebody poked fun at that every day throughout elementary school or whatever. Those little bitty things pile up and create these safety mechanisms, these defense mechanisms throughout. And then we start to see those manifesting in our children. They start even saying exact phrases that we may not have said for years, but all of a sudden Junior's saying them. And they're doing these things that are tall tale signs of trauma, but they haven't had any quote unquote trauma. How do we stop that? This is the healing that Gabrielle was talking about. We have to heal it in ourselves in order for it not to manifest in our children.
Yes. And Gabor Maté talks about how genetics are turned on when certain things happen. They even say that I experienced trauma when I was in my mother's, as egg cell in my mother when she was inside of my grandmother. So I experienced all the trauma my grandmother experienced. Then that was passed on to my mother, to me, and now me with my own children, I have passed some of those genetics that were turned on when certain collective traumas or personal traumas happened to my grandparents or mother, and then myself. So the key is to pinpoint these within ourselves and to start healing within ourselves first, because we lead by example. We lead with action. We show our children how to be with our own example.
And on that same note, the awesome thing is for those of us who didn't have these big, giant, huge traumas that we know that we had, our children are our greatest teachers, where our reaction to their behavior when our child is doing something and it's just that one little thing, whether it be chewing with their mouth open or whining, that's mine, I can't, the whining drives me insane. So why is that triggering me? If we really stop and think, why is this child's behavior? It's not that big a deal, it's a little thing, but for some reason that particular behavior really, really triggers us. Why is that? So we think back to the moment what does that bring you back to? What's the feeling? What's the memory? Was it something when you were a child? A lot of times it is. Then we can look back at that and begin to heal that. And by us healing that, we then can show our child how to redirect that behavior into a positive outlet. But we can't do that if we can't recognize why that trigger is there in the first place.
So when it comes to recognizing this, you want to notice repeating emotional loops. So these emotions will come up and it'll be a loop, and you'll think you worked through it, but it'll come up again and again thing, but really there's something way deeper. And this is what I help people dig deep into to heal within themselves. Is a deeper layer that you have to go into the subtle body, into the energy body, which manifests as different diseases like cancer and any kind of different disease it could manifest as. But it's stored emotion, and it comes up when this trauma is triggered within us. And then healing within our children, when we know how to heal ourselves, we're better able to stabilize our own nervous system so we can be there and hold space for our children. So then we can then walk them through moving through their own emotions and trauma and teaching them healthy ways of channeling that emotion instead of bottling it up, telling them, no, stop crying. Allowing them, showing them, like Karen will show Jaden different ways for him to release his anger instead of lashing out, hitting, or whatever it might be that day.
Or even now that I know, the whining drives me crazy, right? And I follow that trigger and I link it to the things, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't bother me still. But I can't just go, Jaden, stop whining, because to him, that's how he's expressing himself. That's how he's expressing that emotion. So instead, I have to find a way for us to communicate through that. So we do a breathing exercise. We take a deep breath, we put our arms up, we put our arms down, and then I let her know, I can't understand you when you're whining to me like that. I can't talk to you because I can't understand you, which then makes me frustrated and then escalates the situation even more. So we're both going to take a few minutes, we're both going to calm down, and then we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. I give him space to tell me, why are you so upset? Why do you feel the need to whine about this? Like, what do you feel? And most of the time it's, oh, Mom, it's because you got mad at me or you wouldn't let me have this. So then I explain to him why I got upset or why I don't want him to have the thing in a way that he can understand. And most of the time, we're able to go, okay, that makes sense. Not to say every time, because at the end of the day, he is still 8, almost 9.
Yeah.
So sometimes he just cannot regulate that yet, and we have to continue through more methods and develop them as he gets older and his ability to regulate those emotions gets a little bit better. Then we have to change our methods. You know, we have to be malleable, I guess, with his ever-changing will mind.
Because they entrain to our nervous system as well. So our approach has everything to do with their reaction to us telling them something. So if we're nervous, upset, chaotic inside, they're going to reflect that and mirror that, because they're our biggest teachers, our biggest mirrors are our children. I've learned so much about my own trauma through my children and their reactions, and helping them move through things and then realize, oh, that's me. That's within me. So, recap. You want to figure out which traumas have been passed down, how it's manifested within them, and then heal it within yourself so then you can help them move through.
Right. And break that lineage so it ends there.
Yeah. Break the cycle.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking a lot more on topics like these, visiting some different techniques and things that we've used.
Is to place your hand on your own heart and your child's back, and then to breathe together slowly to regulate your nervous system and their nervous system. And their nervous system will entrain and regulate through yours. And then that's emotional attunement and action. So I think that's all we got. Do you have anything else?
No, I think so. We said we were going to keep it short.
So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back with another one. Stay tuned. Subscribe for more.